let's begin with Kito's question. What can I do with my channel to attract the perfect follower for my fitness content? I've been trying a really raw style for the last month, but I realize it's not the kind of content I would personally watch. I want to, oh, sorry. Uh, I want to start making higher quality videos with B-roll and professional photos, as I assume that'll help me find the right audience. However, I'm wondering if I should still record in my room or switch to a different setup. Should I stick with the talking head format? Okay, we got a bunch of questions here. Let me just break them down. So, so first question is, should we use B-roll in professional photos? Second is, should you record in your room or get a different setup? And should you do the talking head format where you share stories and cut to B-roll, or would a different approach be more effective? Yeah. So let's have a look at your channel. We're going for this right here. This is the, yeah. Okay. So lean bulking course, which is exactly what I would recommend for you as well. I think that's a great niche for you. Okay. So first question is, should I use B-roll and professional photos? So it might take me a little while to find it, so I'll write it out for you. But I did a bit of research on this, and I saw like a video from Alex Hormozy and from a few different guys actually who have done a bunch of like data analysis to find out what kind of editing actually was the best for them. And what they said was actually surprising for me because it wasn't B-roll. So B-roll, I think one of the guys who does it really well, if I just show you, is Ali Abdal. Who's seen his videos like this? I'll play a video and I'll show you what B-roll is.
If you've ever felt like that.
So this is B-roll. So notice how this is what's called A roll. It's the main part of the video where he's talking to us. B-roll is like when he'll put these extra clips on. So it's like him writing something or him I don't know, he'll be drinking a cup of tea or walking through a doorway, whatever. And actually, this is the type of it's interesting that just came up. This is the type of editing that actually will help your audience, like for you to find the perfect follower. So this is how we'll categorize it. What we'll call it gay B-roll. Gay B-roll is a lot of people are finding that's not helpful. So that's like, oh, I'm gonna go set up a camera and walk through the doorway, or I'm gonna set up a camera and like, get my weighing scale out or whatever, and like a little pussy, like I'm gonna like make my little my little story or whatever. I'm gonna smile and pretend I'm like an actor or something, right? That's not really adding to it. Like that makes your video look really cute. That's why I'm calling it gay. It makes your video look really cute. But this isn't gonna help you find your perfect avatar. The perfect avatar will come from the kind of editing which is educational. And what kind of editing is educational? It's basically all info. Fuck. It's info and it's graphs and it's data. So there's two, right? So imagine there's two kinds of editing. We'll say the gay B-roll is here, and that's where like we're talking about weighing our food, and so we show us weighing the food right here. That's not actually like valuable. Like this is just gonna hook the attention of retards who want to watch something entertaining. But when we're trying to go for our perfect follower who is a student, who is someone who just wants to learn, what we'll say is we'll call it info editing. Instead of showing B-roll like a video of us, what we might show is on the screen a study that shows that someone who tracks their calories loses more weight. So do you see how on this one we'll put in a bunch of effort to be like, okay, in the video it says like, and that's why step number three is to track your calories, and we show like a video of us tracking our calories. This one will be okay, and that's why step number three is tracking your calories. And there was a study that found, and you show the study, maybe you highlight the text, which shows like, oh, 43% more fat loss. Can you imagine our perfect follower would way rather hear this and he would associate that value to you compared to like mindless consumption of just watching you do something cute. Now, by all means, sometimes this will actually be really good anyway. If you say for like I'll say like I won Alex Mosey's business competition, the school games in 2024. I'm not going to show a fucking study or some shit for that, right? I'm not going to show like a piece of text. I'm going to show a picture for that because it's like I'm showing that I'm next to the guy that I'm talking about. So sometimes it will work, but especially if you can, this is what I would add into your edits. And basically this is, we'll call it editing, but it's more like just fucking put something on top of your video. So it's like studies, graph, data, text, bullet points, steps, list. What else? Like I don't, what we'll call is references. So for example, like screenshots, picture of book, those kinds of things. So everyone take a little screenshot of this, or let me put it into the chat. Add this to wherever you usually script or you usually edit. You'll see it. Just copy and paste what I've just wrote there. So the next time you're in editing mode, or if you have an editor, send this over to them. And then this is the things we want to be adding in. We want to add in less. So I'll write it here on Zoom. Less music, sounds, um, cute B-roll, those kinds of things. We want our video to actually not be as entertaining, because when you add something in, you start to take something out. And if we just make it as educational as possible, when we're trying to sell a course, which is an educational bit of content, we're finding like we're polarizing to the perfect avatar. Let me show you a good example of this just so you can see it in practice. So this is a really good example where this is kind of like a mix. So he's showing like info and the steps that we're going through, but it's actually in quite an attractive B-roll kind of thing where he's wrote it out, it's artistic, he's got the little setup on his desk. And this right here, this stuff here is very nice. So when this, for example, if he asks a really important question, he says, "Oh, and so here's the action step. Ask yourself this question." The question should pop up like this. If he says, "Oh, step number four, like strategy number four, like this," like, yeah, perfect. Look, so that adding editing to add what we'll call video chapters. So that'll be for the steps. So video chapters. Imagine if your YouTube video was going to have these timestamps at the bottom, what would you have on screen? Just like it's saying, step number four, track your calories. This is nice here, so you can see there's different styles you can do this. You could actually write something down and show it. So I've done this. I think many of you watched that video on my advanced channel with the your YouTube videos are trash, where I show the piece of paper and I'm like, okay, number one, number two, number three. So you could do this with in person with you drawing on something, and you'd be like, okay, step number four is this, or you can add it in editing where it comes up as like these little chapter segments there. Let's see if we can get another idea. So this is like a graph or like a drawing, see? Or we'll call this an illustration. So that's good as well. These are all fantastic things to add in. So let me show you a couple of examples of people who I've seen who are doing this editing style recently. So Hormozy and Ed Lawrence. Yeah, perfect. See how it's just a little bit of editing. It's just got like some text on screen, which is adding to what he'll be saying. And have a look at this. So bit of text. It's like a list of, he's saying, oh, here's the three things you shouldn't do, whatever. And then it's just this thing out here I wanted to show you. Like this. See, we add a bit of an illustration if it can add to the video. Like this. And like this, yeah, I know what. So he's going through, okay, the steps. Okay, we're on step five. Okay, six. We're going to get to step six soon. This is the kind of editing you want. If you want to step more into the more professional educator, you want to sell courses. Basically, if you want to sell a course or coaching, you're attracting the kind of like, the nerdy type of autistic guys, mostly like us, who actually like this kind of like full high depth information, step by step and everything. This is the kind of editing I think that really serves it well. Any questions on this? These as the edits. Let me know, and we'll do any follow-up questions for this topic here. This is the final list we got there. Let's see you guys implement this for some of your videos in the next week. And then when you've added it in, post your video on YouTube. Write it in the title as well that you've done this kind of like informational editing, and then we can do a little review of that, see how you guys are doing with this. Let's have a look. Any follow-up questions on this topic? And then we'll go to the next one. Do I want the entire video of professionalism or still stories? Yeah, 100% still have your stories. So stories are still really valuable. And for example, in your stories, you might not want to have like text on the screen. Like you've really got to be calculated for this, right? If we're telling a story like, oh, and then I woke up and I was struggling with binge eating. You don't want text on the screen like, oh, I was struggling with binge eating, or I fat 4 times a day. It's like if it's story mode, especially if it's personal, just keep us right there on you. The most I would do with if we were telling like a story, which I still think we should, is just a picture of you, a picture or some B-roll. That's when it would this stuff would actually really work. If we say, okay, when I was in high school, a picture of you in high school would be sick. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So don't get me wrong. Like this isn't to say that like B-roll is completely wrong, especially in our stories. If we're saying, oh, and there was a girl that I was dating, then yeah, picture of her with a face blurred out, sick. But it's after that when we say, okay, step number one, we may as well have some text on screen that says step number one, whatever the step is. And then after that, if we tell another story, then the text can move off screen. We don't want the text to feel like silly and unnecessary. So we don't want to say like, oh yeah, such a bad day. I fapped 4 times, and the screen comes in really dark. I fapped 4 times. It's like it's just you see how like that's like it wouldn't fit the theme where we'd rather just look you in the eyes when you're telling us something wholesome or whatever. Okay, let's go to the next one. So that is, yeah, this is checked off. It's a big mix of both. Don't be so against B-roll. I still sometimes would want to see some pictures of you guys, some videos, whatever, when it's relevant. But mostly what we'll say is just for stories. I think that's when it's most relevant. Is like, oh, I went to Alex Hormozi's day, then a picture of me and Alex Hormozi. Oh, I built my dream physique, then a picture of your physique. Oh, I binge ate and my physique looked like shit. Well, a picture of your physique looking like shit. I think stories with B-roll make sense, but the rest, when we're giving advice, I think that's when we want more of this info style editing. So the next part was, should I still record in my room or switch to a different setup? If right now switching to a different setup, like going somewhere a bit more professional, is going to be too much friction, maybe it's costly, then always just like choose the frictionless thing, which is in your room. Like you can still grow a massive business with that. But if we could click our fingers and just have you in like a professional studio or in your room, I think you would get more money from these perfect followers if you were in the professional studio. So it's one of those things where, like a kid asks, like, should I upgrade the camera? Should I get one? I usually say to beginners, like, no, don't upgrade it just yet because you're not even consistent in it. And if you try and buy this camera, you're going to be stressed. You're messing around with all the settings and everything. So for Keita and for many of you, now you've been posting consistently. We're not scared that you're not going to like you're going to stop posting at any time. We don't have that fear at all. So now that you're out of the beginning stage, like the sort of first level, this is where now I'd actually say like, yeah, let's see some like higher quality. Let's see you either do it somewhere else in your room with a nice backdrop. Let's see you like put on a shirt for it. Let's see you like add like like step into a bit more of your like professional side. So where I live, for example, in Bali, there's like what are they called? They call like podcast or recording studios that you can go, and they're fairly expensive. You'll be spending like 50, $100 where you can go and rent it out for like 4 hours. They have a cameraman who records it, sound check, everything awesome. So eventually, that's like let's say that's the next level when you can start to spend like $100 per recording session. Above that is just you have your own cameraman. So that's just what I've done today. My cameraman comes to my place, and we've just recorded like a 4K like $20,000 budget course for you guys as well. So it's like ultimate level. But you guys around here where you could do it at home and you could also consider going to somewhere which is maybe like either potentially paid every now and then, or what I would say is maybe not a professional studio, but just somewhere that's nicer than your bedroom. So try and experiment. Especially what I would say with this, let's say this is your environment. Think about what works with your niche. So I've spoke to a few guys who are in more of the mental health niche, and I tell them to just go record outside, just be outdoors. Like just, you've got like a woods in your back garden. Go record there. Do you see how that completely fits in the niche? Let's say for Keto and for the many guys here who are in the gym niche, now, you might not be able to create this into a reality, but let me just give you as an example. Have a look at this environment here. It's one of my oldest videos on, yeah, here. Bali internet, bro. Yeah. See how that like instantly would add a bit more professionalism? Like imagine if this was, dumbbells and whatever, like a proper gym. How well this would fit that I'm recording a video in here. Now again, you don't have to. You can still get views in your bedroom and everything, but this extra level of effort I really do think will pay off and it'll make people take you seriously. Remember, like most people, including the perfect followers, most people are like a little bit retarded and they will judge a book by its cover. Within 1 second here, you know like what kind of guy I am. You can just tell, right? Like imagine your first impression straight away will be based. Imagine if we change this to me being in like Dubai or Miami and a girl with fake tits is like walking past straight away. Straight away, your first impression of me would be different. Imagine if like the first few seconds was like a B-roll of like me with some like gold digger type of girls. Your first impression of me would be instantly different. And we're quite like intelligent guys who, hopefully would be able to like not stereotype as hard. But it is the case, right? So when I see the video for you, most of you guys just in your bedrooms, I can't help but to think, oh yeah, kid, I'm not gonna listen to him, oh kid, amateur. I can't help but to feel that way. Can you get to like an empty gym? Not like a public one that's got music and people, dropping the weights, but sometimes you can like rent out like I've been able to rent out a gym for like £30 in UK before. So if you can do something like that, or if you can go at like 5 a.m. when it's super quiet, or if you can go to like the outdoor calisthenics if that's like your niche, or just something like that fits your vibe if possible. I think that can add a lot of professionalism to your videos. When in doubt, just do it in your room and maybe don't have like your bed in the background, your wardrobe. If you can position it to like the wall here, you can't go wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just having like a wall behind you. But yeah, I would try and take a step into being more as a professional with your environment, Keto. And then here we said talking head format where I share stories and cut a B-roll, or would a different approach be more effective? I'd say, yeah, what you've got right now is great. If we upgrade these two, we've got talking head. When you're telling stories, we've got some B-roll. When you're giving advice, we've got some of this info editing. I think that's a great mix right there. Then let's go to next question from Caden. He said, what archetype should I lean into? Should I lean more into the army? Let's have a look. Here's the interesting thing. These videos here that Caden's doing, you can see I've got this little add-on thing. They're getting a way more views than usual. 800, 240. The problem with these kinds of videos is the people watching them are not going to be buyers. Very unlikely to be buyers because this is a lot, even though like the topic is a bit more educational, it's a day in the life, okay, let's see what's going to happen. The thumbnail instantly makes us think like it's just going to be entertainment, brain rot kind of viewers instead. Nothing wrong with that. Look, if you just want clout, then by all means, if you just want like a pop-in Instagram page, whatever, then that could be cool. But because he shook his head there, Caden. So when you want to make money, you don't want to be leaning into these kinds of videos because you like no offense to the people who watch them, but like smart people don't really watch this kind of content. You've got to think like the basically all of us here, or most of us here, are going to be selling courses and coaching. So our content should resemble as closely to that as possible. So we wouldn't sell a course where like for 4 hours it was just these videos, right? But you would sell a course where, for example, for 4 hours it was more like these videos here. Or maybe even this is more of a storytelling one, like a journey. But for 4 hours, it was more like the guide, the talking head advice videos. So that's what we'd want to be leaning into. It's very important that you know what your aim is with content. Because if you just want to make content for fun, by all means, go ahead, right? So, for example, Sam Millicent is here. He's just making content now for the creative expression. So he won't make content like this, but he might make a film that I'll be like, yeah, I couldn't imagine anyone buying a course from you. But that's fine because he's not trying to monetize in that way. For many of you guys here, you are trying to monetize in the same way that I am, like the sort of education niche. So that means basically your videos should be kind of like mini courses, every single one. Every now and then, by all means, if you want to post a funny video, a film, a skit, or whatever, okay, I understand. I've done it too. I understand that. But 90% of your content should be just, if you're trying to make money, it should be basically just like mini courses or even full courses. It should just resemble that. That's like your competitive advantage. Whilst everyone else makes like a shitty 10-minute video, which is like, it's not that great. You guys, I want to start seeing like 15, 20, 30-minute long videos. It's way more professional. It's like a mini course. I should see it and be thinking like, holy shit, I see other kids trying to charge for this. He's just posted it for free. That's the kind of content where someone will watch 10 minutes of it, get some kind of insight, really like you and respect you and think, oh, damn, he's got a program that, says that I'll get the result. Okay, I really want to put my trust in him and I want to buy from him. So yeah, with this right now, I'd say it's not about the archetype for you, Caden. It's more just specifically the content style. So what I would say with this is, if we want to make money, the only thing we post is basically mini courses. That's what we'll call it from now on, instead of calling it like talking head, because I think that's like a term that's quite vague now. I want us to use this phrase here, which is just mini courses, which basically is like we'll say is like a 15 to, I don't know, 90-minute long talking head video, but it's completely educational. It's got the kind of editing that we've just discussed for keto here, which is this stuff here. It can have some stories and stuff, by all means, that's okay. But this is the kind of content that will funnel really well to the programs that we sell here. So that means it's not like a street interview, it's not a talking head. Sorry, it's not a vlog style or anything like that. Those things are still nice. By all means, you can get a great ton of clout. You can still make money from them. But if we're trying to make maximum amount of money, that will come from like this mini course type of video. Let me show you a few perfect examples just so you grasp my idea here. So this right here is what I'd say is perfect. I studied 1,000 YouTubers. Here's why they can't make money. So Keto's one could be, I tried 52 different workout routines, or I tried 7 different workout routines. Here's the best one. And imagine the thumbnail had like PPL crossed out. It had upper lower crossed out like that. Because I would click on that. I'd be like, oh shit, this guy's like tested all of them. It's your physique in the middle with like all the different ones. Full body crossed out, PPL crossed out. It's like, oh shit, okay, that's cool as fuck. Or it's like, I've hit 1,000 workouts in 2 years. Here's the 4 lessons, whatever. That's nice as well. And then let's go. Here's like, okay, so I did something and I'm going to discuss the results. So this is still on brand for us as well for the mini course idea. So I hit 1,000 workouts. John was here just then. So I cold approached 100 girls in 2 months. Here's what I learned. That's awesome. Look at this one here. So this is more like mini course style. The exact system to go from $0 to 1 million. For you guys here, you may as well literally just take this title here. I'll put this in the live chat. Just copy paste that title onto your little doc wherever you keep your ideas, and just change the bottom text. So Ketos could say the exact system to go from skinny fat or skinny to jacked or whatever the phrase is. Caden, yours is similar as well, to go from skinny fat to muscular. John's could be to go from approach anxiety to first girlfriend or successful approach or something. This is a very good title to use right there. Let me show you another one. I think Kai's here. How much YouTube paid me for 1.3 billion views? How to outsmart the game of YouTube. So Kai's doing really well with a title strategy, which I'll teach you guys in a second. But a couple of these you could copy as well. So how much YouTube paid me for 1.3 billion views? You could copy that down, and your idea could be how much the army pays me if you want to lean into just being an army influencer. But if you want to be more fitness, then it could be like how much my personal trainer charges me or whatever, how much weight I lost with the carnivore diet, how much weight I lost in 90 days of carnivore diet, or how much muscle I gained in 90 days from Jeff Nippard's workout routine. How to outsmart the game of YouTube. Keto, you copy that title and change YouTube to bodybuilding. See, then that's fucking such a good title. If I saw someone post like how to outsmart the game of bodybuilding with quotes, I'd be like, what? And like imagine if you just put some clickbait shit like 15-minute workout or some shit like that. I'm like, what? 15 like one set workout, you talk about Mike Mentor or something, and he was this bodybuilder who said just do one set. That's attractive as fuck. People will be watching that like, oh shit, like okay, this guy knows some secrets here. I mean, this is like a classic one that's doing really well right now. So these titles I'm giving you guys, this is the kind of content with the sort of talking head infographic kind of editing that we discussed earlier. This is the kind of content that's going to be getting you guys sales. So this is what I want to see you post, Caden, as well. The fun videos you're doing, by all means, go make like a new channel for them or something, or if you want to keep them up just for fun, by all means, go ahead. But these are the kinds of videos that will get you clients. Give me 22 minutes and I'll show you how to fix your skinny fat physique. I'll show you how to get to 90 days of no fat. Let's do one more guy. Yeah, right here. These are more like proof results based videos. How I make 138K a month with disadvantage, with what we'll call X disadvantage. How I make, so that bottom one can be how I got a girlfriend as a short guy, how I cold approach as a Pakistani, how I make money, how I make 100K a month with ADHD. So how I get X results, let me write that down, how I get X results with Y disadvantage. So if you post a video with this title, this is the kind you'll get the kind of viewer who will buy your products. How I get X results with Y disadvantage. So all of you, that'd be a really good title for you to copy and just put in your niche into that as well. How I made extreme results from Y low efforts. Yeah. How I made X results from Y low effort. So how I built this physique with 2 workouts a week. Copy me. Or how I built this physique with 0 carbs, 0 carb diets. So huge results making like casual action. So how it might be like 140 kg bench with I don't know, 0 carb diet like that. 140, just copy me at the end of that as well. So the reason why I'm giving you so many is because these are the kinds of videos that will get you clients for your YouTube channel, coaching, and everything else that we're selling here. Next question. Let's have a look at kids' products. So transform your physique in 90 days. Yeah, this is good.
Every time I look in the mirror, I hated how I look. I would even shy away from the mirror. I wouldn't even want to look at myself. I thought, how would anyone even love me? I look disgusted. I literally know how it feels to say this month I'm going to get in the best shape of my life and I'm going to be on this diet and I'm going to say no to junk food. But as soon as someone offers you junk food, you take the first opportunity and you go, bam, and you eat it straight away, eat it straight away. But I remember I was on this diet and my mum, she brought home donuts. And for me, I used to love donuts. I still do, but I don't eat them anymore. And I remember my mum bringing back this food line and I started eating it, don't eat. And then by the time I knew it, I ate the whole pack. And I was supposed to be on this diet, but I couldn't care anymore. After years of this repeating cycle happening, of me trying to get in the best shape of my life, I finally got the physique I always wanted. Now people would actually respect me. If you want a step physique and for people to respect you, Master School makes it easy. No more wondering, should I do the carnivore diet, the keto diet? Should I just eat fish? Should I just eat carbs? Should I eat whole foods? No more any of these diets. No more like you wondering, am I doing this right exercise? Am I supposed to be pushing it like this? Or like should I have my elbows flared a little bit? I'm pushing like this. No, Master School will smash through any obstacle of getting you to your true physique. So what happens if you sign up right now? You'll be able to know what diet to be on. And it's no keto, fucking carnivore, whole foods, any of that shit. It's a diet will be catered to you, and a diet will make you lose weight. You're also not specialized workout program that will build a Greek god physique. You get 24 access with me. This is the best thing. If you take the shot right now, right here, right now, if you take the shot, you'll become.
This is a side point, but as I'm watching this, I'm thinking that get into the army could be the niche for you? Like there's tons of lads in the UK who want to, but it's a pretty daunting thing. Like how do you even begin? How do you apply? What's it like? I could imagine you doing like coaching for that. Maybe even a course, but imagine coaching like some guy, some 18-year-old pays you like £700 or something, and you basically walk him through the entire process. He gets to text you and he's like, "Oh, I've got their fitness test coming up, but I'm feeling really anxious. They won't disqualify me because my knee clicks, will they?" And you help him with these random problems. Maybe you lean into that. That could be at least a idea. So, Caden, how about see the titles I just posted before? How about you copy a couple of them and change them into get into the army as a niche? Go post a couple of videos on that topic and you basically like talk about the army like it's your dream job and how to get into it, how to like, some 18-year-old can like apply and what they need to know and what it's like, should they go, what like, what's it like inside? You hype it up because you always say it to us, it's like your dream job anyway. So I just go post like two videos. I want to see what happens if you just lean into that niche because fitness is always going to be here. But I just wonder if that because you even I'm pretty sure you asked me today. It's like you said, should you lean into it more? Maybe that is actually the niche for you. Just one or two videos, post them, share it to Adonis School, then let me see them, and then let's see from there. Could be a cool like high ticket coaching for you. There we got next question. I keep falling into rut on the weekends, but on the weekdays I'm locked in, waking up at 4:30 a.m., working 2 hours a day, going to the gym at least 3 times a week. But on the weekend I'm fapping, scrolling, and just eating shit, and it only happens on the weekdays. And when Monday comes back, I'm back to waking up early and working again. Yeah, I've heard of quite a lot of you guys having the exact same problem. Just type one in the chat who's had this. Super disciplined, almost perfect days but then routinely like back to degenerate days every now and then based on like some kind of circumstance like oh it's the weekend or you went back to your dad's house or something like that. Yeah, many of you guys. I'm even kind of similar as well. Like obviously no one is at 100% all the time. We're at 80, 90, whatever, which means that the time that we are falling off usually has some kind of pattern. It's never random. So that's like the big question there is like, what causes us to have those ruts? What's the start of it? What's the trigger of the rut? So Caden just said, when I come home from my mum's from the base. So for him, for example, imagine you live at the military base camp. It's easier to stick to your diet because you eat there. It's easier to like be disciplined because you're around the boys. You'd feel like a loser if you go into your little room and go jack off quickly and go back to the boys. So it's like the environment is different. But then when you go to your mom's house, you're like mommy's little boy again. You're back to your commie bedroom again, back to where you used to use. He's nodding his head because I know I'm right. You're back to where you used to eat the donuts and everything. You're like, oh god, it's like because you're not an army soldier anymore. You're not in base camp. You're like in this environment, in this like emotional frequency where you're like a little boy again. So I find this happens to me all the time. It's like I can just enter some kind of environment and I am a certain kind of guy in there. And in another environment, I can't like stop like fucking jacking off or something like that. It happens all the time. There's other environments where I'll go and I turn into like an absolute degenerate. Other environments where I'm super disciplined, where I focus a lot on work. I can work 10 hours a day. I'll wake up early. Other environments where I'm super fit. If the environment is the same, which I think in this example it is, then what's different is what's occurring inside of the day. So we're super disciplined 5 days a week, but then on Saturday and Sunday, are we starting the day off differently? Are we still waking up for 4:30 a.m. on Saturday, Sunday? Okay, sweet. Then walk us through so let's say okay, 4:30 a.m. we're waking up no matter what. At what point does it change on a Saturday and Sunday? Where do we get to? Yeah, he said I think it's because I've got too much time. Because on weekdays I've got school. Yeah, so the school keeps you busy here from like 7 to 4 p.m. or something. Thank you, baby. Let's have a look what he says. This is completely normal, by the way, bro. Almost everyone I spoke to has some form of this. And usually the fix is actually way faster than you realize. We just usually need to swap like two things together. So let's see exactly what action he says, and then we can try and figure out what the cure for this can be. So he said, after breakfast at like 10 a.m., because my brother's got like YouTube videos playing Sidemen, Phase Rug, and I get caught up watching it and the downhill spirals. Yeah, it's like a little bit of dopamine gets you early in because you don't have school. So let's say about 10 or 10 a.m., this is the danger zone right here. If you avoid this little bit right here, you will get this entire day for free, basically. Because this entire day is not only is it wasted, but it's also putting you into the negative, right? We're like resetting, eating shit food, whatever's happening. So, how can we just avoid this little bit right here? I want you to type in the chat, and for everyone else who's had something similar to this, imagine routinely at some time you become a degenerate. Like, a lot of us like had that habit of like jacking off before bedtime or playing games or whatever. If, for example, you're doing the bad habit at 10 a.m. and that's when it's starting and it's leading to a massive rut for the rest of the day, what could you do around this time which would save you from that massive domino? Damien said, I had the same issue. Prevents me from The biggest thing that prevents me is having an important, urgent task. Matthew said, get rid of the trigger, change the environment at the time. That's what I would say as well. Headphones in, listening to podcasts when walking around the house. Go gym, leave the house and be social, 100%. This is what we need. So if we're saying that, let's say we wake up at 4:30 and this is all good, but by 10 a.m. and afterwards it's bad, we need something right around here that changes this block of time. So at 9 a.m., so this is how we get so specific and autistic with our advice. Basically, we've got to get to do something at 9 a.m. That's it. And now it's like the problem which seems like so hard to fix, like, oh man, I'm stuck in this rut. Now the problem's like, okay, like bro, what's some productive shit we could get you to do at 9 a.m. that will get you to save yourself from this? Maybe you go to the gym. Maybe you go do a long distance run for like an hour straight. Maybe you go do 10, 20,000 steps and you take your phone with you and you write down video ideas, whatever. So you get like a ton of video ideas once a week. You go on like a 2, 3 hour walk. If you've got dogs or something, you go walk them for a few hours. You go to a friend's house, take your laptop and go to a cafe. You're not going to start jacking off in there, hopefully. Let's see what he puts. But yeah, that's probably my few top suggestions would be walk, gym slash martial arts, and probably cafe. There. Let's see what you put, and then we can move on to the next question. I got to babysit my brother. It's too hard to leave the house because he's only 6 years old and my parents get home at like 1 p.m. Okay, fair enough. Can you six? You can take him out to like a little cafe or something, can you? 6 years old. What do you like when you're six? Can you go out and like you just shit in your pants or something? Yeah, well maybe you do that, right? Maybe you take him on a walk with you. Maybe go take the football out and go make him play like a child, bro. What the fuck is this? He's watching like the Sidemen and shit, bro. To break his fucking screen, pass him a ball and tell him to catch. Honest, that's probably the biggest thing I'd say. This is a domino, right? Because one, it's we need to save you, but two, bro, we need to save your little brother as well, right? And we need to save. It's not just about you. We need to save him. So we can tell you like, oh, bro, just put your earphones in, go upstairs, whatever. But preferably, like you just play with your little brother. Like I would have been this kid as well, 15, 20 years ago when the technology wasn't as good, right? So remember, I'm quite a bit older than you guys. I was back in like the fucking box computer days. Like the computers were like this thick, like the monitor was this thick, and you had like a desktop like that fucking big with like a pull-out keyboard. The mouses that we used to use had like a ball, like a fucking gray ball inside. Many of you are way too young for that, right? There was no tablet, there was no phone. It was like flip phone days and everything, right? And I still would have been addicted and I would have played games all day back then. And this is before this stuff's really leveled up. If it wasn't for my brother and me and him just like doing stuff together, what I found is in the modern day, siblings don't play with each other as much because you've all got devices. So it takes a like guts for you if you want to. Try tomorrow or the next Saturday, go grab a ball and say to your little brother, not like basically force him if he says no. Force him to come outside because a lot of little brothers that bro like coming from one as well. We're little shits up until big bro tells us like no, like there's no alternative. if you physically force him and like fucking like manhandle him, bring him outside, back garden, front garden, whatever, football, catch, whatever, like outdoor sport, and then just go actually like fucking live life as he's supposed to do. He's a 6 years old. He's supposed to go like crash his bike on the street and play with the ball and fall and scrape his knee. And that's his like big brother's responsibility because for me, I wouldn't have ever like went out by myself when I was younger. I needed either a friend I was organizing with, but most kids don't even play out these days anyway, or it was my big brother who would kind of invite me and say, "Okay, let's go play outside. Let's go to the garden. Let's go play cricket, whatever." So I think that's what we lean in on. I was gonna say something for you to do something more selfish, like put your earphones in, go upstairs, whatever. Yeah, but that 2 hours might actually be the domino, for example, for you to not be in the whole dopamine rut thing, right? Imagine, let's say 2 hours you go play with the ball outside, and then you're back to work once you come in. You spent 2 hours, but in for a good use, something memorable, healthy, whatever. But you might have actually like saved yourself like 10 hours of degeneracy if you have the 2 hours that doesn't lead to any bad habits after that. And also, your brother's had 2 hours away from the screen. So if he goes back onto the screen, it's like we don't need to be upset because he just had 2 hours outside. It's fine. It's like we're not completely against technology. All of us are using technology. All of us play games and stuff. I'm not saying that someone should have like 0 seconds. But if he takes a 2 hour break and then he wants to go back in and watch more fucking Sidemen or something, it's like, yeah, fair enough. He's played outside. He got exercise, sunlight and stuff. I'm happy with that. Maybe that's what it is for you, bro. Maybe about 9 a.m. Saturday, Sunday, you want to set an alarm for this and Google Calendar. If you've got an iPhone, you can set it for specific days of the week. That's what I do right now, so you remember this. If you've got one, like do it right now, because otherwise on Saturday you'll forget. 9 a.m. football, whatever, 2 hour block. By 11, go back in, eat. You've got like 2 hours till your parents come. You just go straight to your room. He watches his TV shows or whatever. Yeah, nice one, bro. Yeah, good question there. Let's go. Next question. So from Ronald, and he said, "Could you check out my YouTube channel? Let's have a look. What could you improve on?" Right now, it looks like we don't have a very clear niche. It feels like we have a bit of a clear avatar, which is like men's problems. But I think it's a little bit too broad right now. Here's like a tip for you guys. If I open your YouTube channel just like this here, within a few seconds, I want to be able to just say one word or a couple of words that describes you. I want to be able to just look at this and be like, he is X. He is that guy. So imagine if this was Caden's YouTube channel a couple of weeks from now, and imagine if every video he was posting was like, how I got my dream job at the army, how to enlist into the army, what the process is like in the army. We would look at it in a second and be like, okay, he's like the army guy. We look at Keto's, oh, okay, he's like the physique, lean, bulking guy. We look at him, okay, he's like the self-improvement guy. He's like the business guy. He's like this guy. This is like, he's like the week 4, day 6 guy. It's like doesn't have the same ring to it. Oh, he's like the okay. So men's health, okay, loneliness, fine. Stop being the nice guy. Is that like a dating thing? Okay, losing. Okay, so like goals. Oh no, porn. It's we have a clear avatar, which is okay, men's problems. But what we want to have is a clear niche, which is what kind of problem we want to narrow in on. I've done this as well. I've got a bit more of a general channel, but it's not what I would recommend because it's a massive uphill battle to monetize, especially. What I'd recommend for all of you is just choose one very specific problem, like one part of the journey that you are really good at. So, okay, it's the physique, it's the lean bulking, it's curing binge eating, it's ADHD. It's that specific. You don't just want it to be all the problems that this one type of person faces. It's more like, okay, what's the biggest problem? Okay, it's dating for Pakistani guys. It's uh, curing approach anxiety. It's business for ADHD. It's studying for Latinos, whatever. We want to have that specific. So that's the first thing I'd say is just it's the niche. Let's watch a few minutes of the video.
You know, at 40, we're supposed to have it all figured out, right? That's what they say, right? Well, the truth is, we're stuck. Stuck, we're exhausted, and just wondering where the hell we went wrong. I felt the same way. My career had me drained. I had a plethora of unhealthy habits. Came to a point where I didn't even recognize myself anymore. But you know what? The truth is, starting over at 40, it's not a death sentence. It's your second chance at greatness. Back in my corporate office days, I was suffocating.
It's a minor point, but the little bit of editing there kind of put me off. This kind of video, I think, is served really well as like a one take. Just speak to me like a man, and sometimes you might need to take a second to think about what you're gonna say, or you might stutter. How a man would handle that is he'd say, "Oh, excuse me," and he'd keep going. I found particularly for like the older guys who make videos, less and less and less I want to see any editing from them. Like if for some reason it just feels so wrong. With like I don't know if any of you guys picked up on that, but see this little
Starting over at 40, it's not a death sentence. It's your second chance at greatness. Back in my corporate office days, I was suffocating.
me because I've started watching this kind of content. I've particularly found myself watching the older guys who I can tell have just pressed record, sat back, and then just spat game. That's it, as if it was a conversation. So that's one of the things that I've picked up on.
Leave work.
Let's go another one.
For as long as I can remember, I've been alone. But not in a tragic way. It's just how life was. You see, I'm an only child. My parents had their own problems. I didn't really fit in anywhere, not even with my extended family. But here's what I learned. Being alone doesn't mean that you have to remain lost. You can find strength in solitude. And I'm going to share with you how.
34 seconds in, anyone not really give a shit? Like what he's just said, anyone not moved at all? Like type one in the chat. He's talking about something really important. But I wasn't moved at all. Like I felt no emotions watching that. That he might have been talking about one of the most important topics of all, which is like life fulfillment. I didn't really feel any emotion. Did anyone else? Type one if you didn't, and type two if you did feel like the emotion from that. So let's make this hook better just for this one, and this is like
For as long as I can remember, I've been alone. But not in a tragic way. It just
zero emotion in that. Because you're telling us more like a very personal thing, but as a fact. When it comes to personal things, tell us a story that symbolizes the fact that you want to tell. So let me write this out for you. There's two ways to tell us about you, right? One is the fact, and that is I've been alone. That's it. And then you kind of move on from that point. The other one we'll say is the story. I remember one day I got home, but no one was in. I kept on ringing the doorbell, but no one was answering. And then my mum came home like 2 hours later, and I was so upset. It's a bit longer, sure, but like I have a feeling like if we told that story, people would know the fact about us, but they'd relate to it. Like, so let me pretend this is a video, right? So for as long as I can remember, I've been alone, no emotion. Imagine a new video starts, and it's one day when I was in high school, I got back home and I rang the bell as I always do, and no one answered. I kept on ringing it, no one answered. I needed a piss, no one answered. And I started getting really upset. Now, this was back before like phones and everything. And I'm just this kid stood outside of his home, not knowing what to do. My neighbor saw me outside and they kept on looking at me till eventually he came over and said, like, are you locked out? What's happening? And I said, usually my parents are home. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And he invited me into his home and I sat there and they gave me chocolate and I was playing like this game on the TV. for like 2 hours till we saw the car pull up and they walked me back to my home. And it turns out my family just went on like this little trip without me and they came home late. That's a true story, by the way. That's actually fuck me. But you see the difference, right? If we're gonna tell a personal fact about us, especially one that's like personal, it's emotional, it's a bit of a deep one. Tell it more in a story. Tell us like the day you realize you were alone in this world. Don't tell us what's more of like a timeline fact of like, oh, in 2020 it was really hard for me because I was addicted to weed. It's like you pass over that one sentence so fast. It does nothing. In 2020, I finally quit weed, but it was so difficult because I was so addicted to it that then I couldn't even sleep at night and I wasn't getting dreams and I kept on like waking up weirdly and I was covered in sweat and I had night sweats for weeks and my girl was next to me and then she was getting pissed off because my body was so wet. Do you see, we don't just want a big period of our life just being one measly sentence. We want it to be like a couple of sentences, a story which encapsulates like a great deal of the pain that we went through. That's what I say. That those are two things we can improve on for Ronnie's channel right there is let's get the niche first. I think that's the most important thing. We're talking about so many different things right now. I want you to just think of the one major thing that you can become like really amazing at. Just one. What one product, or sorry, one problem can you be known for? So it's loneliness in middle age, or it's mental toughness, or it's feeling stuck in life. They're all different topics. I just want to be really great at one of them. Let's go. Next question. So a question from Ismail. He said, "This is my foot. I'm pretty sure this call's supposed to be locked, but I swear, like we've got the peasants in here. So, like, this call's supposed to be locked for guys who've been in Adonis school for 12 months only. I think I'll fix it for next time. I'm pretty sure this is more people than I expected. So, I just wanted to say thank you for everything. That being said, my question is about titles because after reading today's post, I remembered something Hamosi said. Stop creating intrigue in titles and tell people directly what they will get. Should I use that title? Yeah, 100%. So just like about a year ago and for all this time, the advice when it came to the titles of your video was have curiosity. And that works for entertainment channels. This is why it's so important for you guys never to watch any Mr. Beast podcasts or anything like that. Because I tell you, that motherfucker has ruined ruined like your insights for YouTube so much. He went on like a series of podcasts, spilled game for entertainment channels because but then so many people in our industry started to follow the same things and they're hiding the shit they're talking about, they're following his like it's all wrong. That works for entertainment curiosity because you're not going to say like in the title of the 400 people who stood in this red circle, Jack was the one who won the Lamborghini. It's like, oh yeah, well, I don't need to fucking watch the video now. It's like, okay, Jack wins. Like, who wins? Boys and girls survival challenge in the bracket. Boys win. It's like, oh, well, okay, well, I don't need to fucking watch anymore. For us, we are not trying to get people on this sort of curiosity loop, which is, oh, we're going to surprise them at the end with this dopamine payoff. We're going to keep trying to lead the question. Don't you get pissed? Like, isn't there some books that you guys have read where they keep delaying giving you the value? Like, so you've read some books like that because I know I have, where they keep talking about the strategy, whatever, but they don't tell you about it till 100 pages in. Yeah, I was just gonna say, fucking deep work is like this. First 150 pages of deep work is literally this. Deep work equals good. 150, 200, 200 fucking pages, bro. 200 pages. Deep work is good. That's all there is. And it's also, by the way, it's still nice. It's still a great book. It's still like insightful. But you shouldn't be thinking of leaving your people at this weird cliffhanger curiosity, prolonging them. Because then you're gonna be attracting more of these like dopamine fiends rather than the students. Imagine the best students, what are they used to? They're used to the professor in school starting his lecture saying, okay, here's what we're gonna cover today. One, this, two, this, three, this. It's just like the video chapters, right? They don't say like, oh, and if you stay till the end, will be, special bonus point or something like that. It's just no. This is just what we're covering. We're not trying to be cute. There's no weird shit like that. There's no like analytics or anything. We're assuming it's kind of like we are professors. We're assuming that the student is going to stay in our class. Like that's one of the insights I want to pass on to is assume we are teachers and the student is going to stay in your class and he's going to pay attention. Don't act like a insecure teacher who thinks that their students will stand up and walk out of the class. Technically, people do that with your YouTube content, but I find that it makes your content worse if you imagine that you need to keep up the retention and you need to like not tell people what we're going to be covering or anything like that. I really think you'll make like a better class if you start it by literally saying, okay, this is what we're going to cover today. You could have this as that infographic kind of editing that we spoke about before for Keto's question. Okay, this is what we're going to cover today. Step one, we're going to do this. Step two, we're going to do this. Step three, we're going to do this. Step four, we're going to do this. But make sure you don't do it like that. Step five, we're going to do this. Then imagine we've just spilled the secret. Like there's no curiosity, but can you imagine if you were watching this video and the guy said like, oh, we're going to cover how to track your calories, but you probably aren't even doing it accurately. There's a different way to do it. Many of us might be watching that thinking, oh, cool, I want to learn that strategy. We're going to learn how to optimize sleep, but not in the basic ways like just turning your devices off 2 hours before bedtime. If I heard someone say that at the start of a video, I wouldn't click off thinking, oh, well, he hasn't left me curious, enough for the rest of the video. I'd be thinking, oh, cool, I'm going to learn something practical that I actually really care about today. Imagine we're watching a testosterone video and he's like, and in step four, we're going to talk about the workout that boosts testosterone. He's taken away the curiosity in terms of what we're covering, but in fact, now I actually am more curious because I want to know what he's talking about. And it's the same with the title as well. Don't leave people clueless in the title. Tell them what it is. Tell them, like, oh, I made X dollars using this website. This is my physique. I put on 34 pounds of muscle in 1 year. You know what I mean? Just tell them the truth straight away. We're not trying to get like a little cheap click from some entertainment viewer. We want people who are students who have like fairly signed up for our class. Like imagine this is a class in university, and imagine on the outside of like the brochure, if you want to sign up for this class, they just like left you with curiosity. And it's like, they explain things in really mysterious ways, and then I'll tell you the 1, 2, 3 trifecta method or something. It's like, motherfucker, just tell me if we're going to be studying psychology and what degree I'm going to get from this, right? Don't be cute. Tell people exactly what they're going to get, because then you'll get the best students inside of your program and inside of your videos. Let's do one more question, then we'll move over to the Adonis Town Call. So we got a question from Sam. And he says, since starting filmmaking, I've realized how much following a passion that is truly yours and not external makes you love life. I've always had a distaste for all the online entrepreneurship guys who are 100% focused on just profit, Alex Hormozy, Charlie Morgan, these types. But now this distaste has turned into a full-on hatred because I realize they've stopped other guys like myself from finding our true passions by just washing it over with a lust for money. I feel like I found my new mission with my film's help to inspire these guys to find their true passions and go all in on it with the goal of simply loving life. My enemy is the entrepreneurs 100% focused on profit. However, I also feel like this is going against almost everything I've always believed, and so it feels kind of wrong to do a complete 180. What do you think about this? Yeah, I'm glad you asked this question. I've had a kind of similar mindset sometimes where I kind of hate on like the money guys and everything. And what I will say is in very short, I would probably recommend you to not go down this path, because now when I think back to how against I was, I realized this is kind of similar to drugging, Dunning-Kruger's effect. Have you ever heard of that, Sam? So this is what it looks like. Uh, So this is what Dunning-Kruger's effect looks like, where basically when we first start a thing, we very rapidly think we're amazing at it and we think we understand the world really well. It's only when we get humbled a little while later, then we realize we know nothing. Most people quit around here, they just start something new. And it's only after years you realize more and more and more of like the sort of industry, the game, whatever. You're most likely right here, as I have been when I was talking in the exact same way, saying, "Oh, these entrepreneurs, they only want to make money," because you very quickly have had like, "Oh yeah, money's amazing, money's amazing. Ah, money's not even that important." But what you're not thinking is like, there's guys who are behind on bills. Like there's kids your age working full like basically full-time jobs right now. So it's like, yeah, sure, money's not like that important for you right now. There's some kid in your school who literally is hungry at lunchtime. Genuinely brings no food and his parents can't even afford it for him. Now it's like it puts it into perspective and you're okay, fair enough. Fair enough, actually. Money is absolutely important, even for you as well, even for your family, for everyone. It's just that you're in a pretty privileged state where it doesn't need to be right now because you're still young and your parents are doing well, and so it's awesome like that. So just never forget that. It's like sometimes you can get blinded by your own biases, where I, for example, in 2023, when many of you joined Adonis School, I was going on these rants saying money's not important, purpose is more important. I was making 100K a month passively. It's like I was, and plus I was living at home as well. I didn't even want to move out at the time. So for me, it's like, yeah, of course, more money's not important, but like, so sometimes I needed you guys to say like, yeah, but Hamza, it is for us, dickhead. Like we're broke, you're not. Like if you're making zero right now, then money can be important. Right now, it might not be for you, Sam. But the story I've been telling a lot to because I'm doing the opposite of you right now. I'm actually telling people more money is important because of this one story which you've heard me say, which is I graduated from university, and there and then, like when I saw the result, I actually wanted to fail because I wanted to be like a carefree student again. But I passed, and when I saw that I passed, literally on the website, it's like my heart sank because I realized I wasn't like a carefree, happy student who gets to focus on fitness and dating and fun. I was an unemployed man. And because I lived with the same attitude that you're starting right now, which is like, yeah, money's stupid, money's not important, just just enjoy yourself. I had like the worst fucking year of my life. Like I was suicidal. I was like crying most days of the week because I was so bad, like down bad with money, full-time job. Like imagine like because you live in UK, imagine like the shit waking up at 5, shitty public transport when it's cold outside. The brown poopy water on the floor, like the puddles, it gets onto the bottom of your work pants and stuff. You go take public transport, this fucking crackhead on the tram or something, into the city, into Manchester, graffiti, literal shit on the floor and everything. When you've had a few days like that, you'll be like, you know what? Actually, money's pretty important now. So is the passion, so is the love. And if you want to go and be a creator, an artist, by all means, I'll support you. But I wouldn't actually go down this path because this would make sense if, for example, you wanted to do talking head videos and you wanted to like, like basically do the same thing that all of us are doing, but just with a different angle. I would say don't place, especially for Sam specifically, because you're going way more of the creative route. I would tell you don't even go with the idea of like the sort of polarization, mission, whatever. For now, because you're in the first like few stages of this, I would say just create what you need to create. I wouldn't try and have a mission. I wouldn't try and even have like a niche right now. For now, I would tell you like the only advice I'd give you is just go create some cool shit, bro. Go create some shit that you'd actually be really proud of. That's it. No message, nothing, no niche that you have to stick to. If it's going to be like it's specifically YouTube videos, go create some YouTube videos that you'd literally take pride in. You'd want to see your parents watching it on the TV. You'd want to send it to your friends. You'd share the link in Adonis School because you've spent a lot of effort onto it. That's what I think what will fulfill you. And I think that's where you'll find your angle after time. I think particularly with the more creative side of things compared to the business side of things, you you don't want to think about it. Like with business, it benefits to have coaching and to say, okay, oh bro, what's your niche? Okay, this niche, okay, what's the product? For now, it's more like you just need to go on like those long walks and think, okay, what YouTube video would be really fun to make and would you be kind of cool for you to kind of broadcast to the world? He said, I'm not against making money in and of itself. I'm going to monetize. It's just sacrificing everything for money that I'm against. Yeah, I agree with you there as well. What I feel I need to create and what I want to create is pushing my values. That's what I would be proud of. I've tried going at it without a mission for the past month or so, and it just makes me feel so weirdly weak and feminine. Yeah, I get that. Like you just creating like some cute video or something. I get that. So maybe you change it. Maybe it's more like a story then. Maybe what story do you want to tell to the world, and then it's with the B-roll, the artistic style. So pick the story. Go spend some time in the journal on the notes. Write down 10 story ideas that you can think of. Which one do you wish you could go back in time and tell it to younger Sam so that he doesn't get the same scar that you got? Maybe that's a great way to start because I've seen a lot of the filmmakers that they go more story style. I think that's from who you said as well, Simon, and I think it was Natalie Lynn as well. I messaged Simon for you. He didn't respond, but I thought you might do. But I messaged him. I sent him a link to your film as well. Yeah, we'll leave it there, boys. I'll send you a link to Adonis School. Sorry, to the gang. Nice one, boys. W's in the chat. I'll see everyone inside of the Adonis Town. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.